Now, before I talk about specific steps you can take, I want to talk about what drives cognitive complexity, something called dynamic intelligence. Dynamic intelligence is the central concept in constructed development theory, developed by adult development psychologist Dr. Darren Stevens, who I mentioned earlier. It is the process through which we construct our thinking. It starts with cognitive intentions, the automatic thinking patterns that shape how we perceive and respond to our environment. Then comes awareness. That's our awareness of these cognitive intentions and how they impact on our decisions. It allows us to identify biases in our thinking and initial reactions, paving the way for more deliberate thinking and action. Then comes choice. That's our deliberate selection of cognitive strategies based on intention awareness. And finally, response, and that's the action that we take that results from the combination of intention, awareness, and choice. Simply put, the greater our level of dynamic intelligence, the greater our awareness and choice, and thus response. Or to put it another way, the greater our self-awareness, the greater our level of dynamic intelligence. And so what's all this got to do with cognitive complexity? Well, let's remind ourselves of our definition of cognitive complexity. It's the ability to differentiate among and integrate multiple perspectives or dimensions. Differentiation is related to the number of dimensions and characteristics, the amount of information used by an individual when they perceive their environment. And we also discussed that is known as cognitive width. And integration is related to the ability to see the connections among all of that information, or what we previously called cognitive depth. So with that in mind, let's take a look at cognitive intentions. What you're looking at here is the thinking style for an individual as mentioned by the identity compass. Each row represents a single cognitive intention, and there are 50 of them. And broadly speaking, each of the cognitive intentions is either related to cognitive width or cognitive depth. For example, the external frame of reference broadens cognitive width through the incorporation of external viewpoints, whereas the preactive level of activity extends cognitive depth because it involves deep causal reasoning and forward thinking. Each of the individual colors represents a group of cognitive intentions, and the differences in the length of the bar for each cognitive intention within a group represents an individual's relative awareness and choice of each cognitive intention within that group. For example, this individual has much greater awareness and choice of hearing and feeling as their preferred sensory filters, and is more able to choose between them than they are to choose seeing as a sensory filter. Let's put that into practical terms. Let's say this individual witnesses a traffic accident. They might say, "It was awful. I heard the van revving, a thud, and then a gut-wrenching scream." Whereas someone with greater awareness and choice in seeing might report, "Well, I saw the van pull away from the loading bay, and then the boy knocked to the ground as he ran out from between two parked cars." Same incident, two quite different witness reports from two quite different thinking styles. Just take a moment to summarize. Cognitive complexity is the ability to differentiate among and integrate multiple perspectives, where differentiation represents cognitive width and integration represents cognitive depth. Cognitive intentions are cognitive heuristics that contribute to either cognitive width or cognitive depth. And each of us has varying ability to choose to utilize each of these cognitive intentions. It naturally follows that as our capacity for choice in this regard increases, so does our cognitive complexity. And that brings us back to dynamic intelligence.